Hi, I'm Dave Gardy for Cybersecurity TV from our studios here near Washington, D.C. for this special presentation, the third in the series of Squirrel Compliancy Solution TV programs. Joining us now via Zoom is Mr. Dave Lundgren, who is the cybersecurity leader and driving force behind the Squirrel Compliancy Solutions and its flagship platform, Squirrel Defender. Dave, welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Dave. Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Now, the subject we're going to go delving into this time is the Army's National Guard's 5-year IT strategy and how Squirrel Defender is helping align with the mission priorities. The National Guard Bureau's IT strategy focuses on areas like cybersecurity, modernization, and operational readiness. Can you explain how the Squirrel Defender platform aligns with these priorities?
Certainly. So, when we talk about the emphasis on those different pillars that you just covered, Squirrel Defender automates the DoD state compliance for Layer 2 and Layer 3 network infrastructure, first and foremost. So this is going to be applied towards that cybersecurity aspect. The automation ensures continuous compliance, reduces the risk of human error, and also strengthens their cybersecurity posture to defend against those evolving threats that are continuously, happening on a daily basis. When we move into another piece of that aspect, the National Guard is constantly modernizing legacy systems, and Squirrel Defender helps by seamlessly integrating with the existing infrastructures as well as these new modernized pieces that they're adding in. The platform itself supports hybrid environments, on-prem, air-gapped. We're even moving into the CSP world of different cloud environments. And it does this by offering dynamic, selectable technical security controls that are going to help, enable incremental modernization without any operational disruption. And, the goal is to give that seamless feel of modernizing without some of the trips and the heartache that are typically associated. As we move into, operational readiness, the Army National Guard and NGB as a whole, there's a dual state and federal responsibility that's there. And even moving into some of our mission partners, it's not even moving, it's quite a bit so, where we're involved around the globe with other nations that we support and are continuing to add and grow towards. So operational readiness is a paramount feature and need for the Army National Guard. The Defender's real-time compliance reporting and automated remediation piece is going to help keep network secure, mission ready, and even during that high stress of scenarios like natural disasters and cyber incidents. We think about what recently happened here in my home state of North Carolina with Hurricane Helene. These were pretty critical things that they had to mobilize and move quick on. I know for a fact that the couple surrounding states were currently going through a couple CCRIs or now called the CORA, but you think about the disruption of trying to make sure that your compliance, as it gets added into, hey, we all have to mobilize because a hurricane just wiped out not a couple buildings, not a coastline, but an entire region of small towns, homes, businesses, and dropped out communications all around. And from the National Guard's perspective, it's paramount that they are able to quickly maneuver and be put in that place without dealing with things like, hey, are we compliant?
That's impressive. Let's talk about cost and efficiency, which are key areas of concern in any IT strategy. How does the Squirrel Defender platform help the Army National Guard in those areas?
Right. Efficiency and cost reduction are baked into the platform. Right out the gate. By automating the compliance processes, Squirrel Defender reduces the time and personnel that's needed for audits and remediation. With that automation piece, again, we're able to generate those checklists of findings, determine, hey, can we fix this now? Or is there some other kind of mitigation process that needs to be applied? Do we need to expand on these? That's a heavy manpower set, right? And a lot of man hours, and there's a cost that's associated with every bit of that. So this is going to free up those resources to go back to other mission critical tasks. So again, we talk about the incident that happened from an environmental perspective, a natural disaster. They got to focus on that. What happens at the state level is when those events happen, they get behind in all the normal compliance and the needs of just maintaining from an O&M perspective, what that underlying state level network infrastructure needs to do and perform as a task, right? It is a mission critical task, but there are other things surrounding that throughout the normal process. Moreover, proactively being able to monitor helps to identify different vulnerabilities. And we talk about vulnerabilities. What are the different technical security controls that are wrapped around those vulnerabilities that are exposed from the network level, before they escalate into a true cost or a costly issue at that point, and then cost not only the guard but the taxpayers and our state level folks, more money. For example, during a recent implementation, we discovered misconfigurations that could have resulted in downtime during an actual exercise, right? It was happening right up and during and still going on through the same time as dealing with that natural disaster in this region of the U.S. Fixing those early on, that helped to avoid some serious and significant operational and financial impacts.
Excellent. Well, what are we talking about regarding scale and budget for the network infrastructure of the Army National Guard?
Right. A lot of people look at the Guard from a state level and they might recognize it as, hey, we've got a couple hundred devices or a couple hundred locations that are here and there, but being that the Army National Guard, well, the National Guard in general is, responsible for, 54 states, territories, DC, and again, back to over 100 partner nations around the globe. Size and scale is pretty big, pretty key, pretty important, and being able to maneuver in between all of those different missions that are actively going on. Each state, depending on the size, is responsible for hundreds up to almost 1,000 network devices, and keeping the state level network actually connected and secured and defending that in that regard. So every organization, I don't care what organization it is, to include the National Guard, routinely experiences a resource deficit of sorts, right? Maybe a unit is mobilized. Network operations are now dependent on human resources that might lack some expertise in network or cybersecurity in that regard. And these guardsmen and or civil servants or state level employees can quickly expect themselves to be pushed, beyond the realm of being confident or holding that expertise. Because, hey, the guy that normally takes care of this, he's pushed out on MOB around the globe somewhere, and he was our firewall guy. I'm a router guy. I'll do the best I can. But what happens when it's a true cybersecurity event or an emergency, and we need that expertise? So with Squirrel Defender, guardsmen can now lean on the automation to monitor for that real-time analysis and be able to also apply mitigation or remediation efforts towards hardening, defending, and securing those networks at that point.
So the Army National Guard has a unique challenge with both its dual federal and state missions. How does the Squirrel Defender platform assist in addressing those needs?
Right. We understand the Army National Guard's unique profile in that we've designed the platform to meet those challenges kind of head on, and being able to, again, maneuverability, elasticity, and applying towards common platforms, common themes, and common controls that are expressed or dictated by DISA, right? So when it comes to meeting the STIG objectives, the guardsmen are still performing a lot of these tasks manually, right? That's what we've noticed across the board, across the nation. And by giving them customizable compliance, each state guard's unit operates in different environments. So pick your vendor, right? Doing something like a Cisco versus a Juniper versus a Palo. Maybe there's some Aruba, wireless, wired, long haul, whatever it might be that comes into play. The Squirrel Defender platform is tailored to meet both centralized DoD requirements and decentralized pieces tailored for the state. We talk about that state level network. That's going to roll into that Title 32 kind of connectivity piece, right? Each state is their own. They go through headquarters. When they get mobilized, and we talk about things like the tactical units that are more dictated by big Army to be leveraged and used for mobilization or for those disaster incidents, those go directly tie in through the larger Army network at that point and bypass what's at the state level. But they still have to have access to get back in to leverage those resources on that regard. We talk about mission critical availability. Defender ensures that these IT systems can remain secure and operational, allowing personnel to focus on saving lives rather than, troubleshooting network issues and challenges. As we move into scalability, across units and across the nation, the platform scales seamlessly, supports the guard units statewide, and can grow to a nationwide kind of perspective now when the time comes. And that's kind of our plan is how do we support, we started off early supporting a lot of our state guardsmen and moving into the larger nation's state level support. And the goal for that is, we want to take care of our home first, right? Before we go moving out into other industries. And so ensuring that interoperability and consistency across those different IT infrastructures exist, that's kind of how it's been planned. And then being able to support that, right? So from a training and support perspective, we provide state-specific training 24/7 that is going to be available 24/7. When our guys go in there and help deliver and train over-the-shoulder OJT, which is typically how most folks learn best, you put them into a real scenario. It's fast, it's seamless, it's easy. In a matter of days, they're up and operational. Back to that conversation in prior sessions, we're not talking days, weeks, months for something to be deployed and be able to be supported. On top of that, we have a 24/7 support piece where when guardsmen are in the normal day-to-day activities, they have that callback reachability to us, right? And our engineers that develop and write all this stuff, the team here at Squirrel, we all come from the DoD. So we have that experience. We've done STIGs for 20 years, all of us. We're just trying to make sure that we empower those teams to fully utilize the platform and apply towards their local needs.
Well, that's a great foundation. The Army National Guard's 5-year strategy highlights use cases such as disaster response, cybersecurity operations, and legacy system modernization. How does the Squirrel Defender platform address those areas?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and just break this down. Defender's been supporting these state-level networks for several years now, right? Pretty much since our inception. It's what helped drive a lot of the requirements for how we are going to plan to support and defend these networks. When we're talking about hurricanes, wildfires, emergencies, guard units rely on secure and resilient IT systems, right? They need to have that thing be able to come back up every time and be secure every time. Squirrel Defender is going to take and automate that compliance in real time, right? And give you the analysis, and if you've configured and set this correctly, be able to provide you those real-time analysis as well on ensuring that the operational and secure piece is covered even during crisis situations. We move out of disaster response and into the cybersec operations side of the house. The Army National Guard plays a vital role in that cyber defense. And it's not just statewide, it is nationwide. You've got a lot of guardsmen who are state level guard, who are performing national level big Army efforts still and supporting other agencies, things along those lines. So they get a broader view, a broader picture, they're exposed to a lot more. They're also sometimes overloaded with the amount of responsibility as well as the amount of hands-on expertise that's expected of them to manage multiple element managers, as we always used to call them, right? So, hey, I've got all these tools, that's great. Am I proficient in every one? It's no different than taking a weapon downrange and doing your proficiency test, right? How good am I with this? Can I put lead on a target? It's the same concept that gets applied towards cybersecurity tech or platforms, right? If they don't touch it, you don't use it, you lose it, right? That kind of perspective. We want to take a lot of that away as far as remove that extra piece of responsibility or extra burden away from them. So the platform itself is going to help to strengthen that readiness by continuously monitoring that compliance piece and identifying those vulnerabilities for them. There's just not enough manpower, not enough eyes. You got tools galore that are out there and telling you how to do things. We're trying to really consolidate and take that moving target and put a real bullseye on it and make it more fixed or stationary. Good example is a recent pilot that we did, more of a proof of value for a state. We automated network audits ahead of a cyber readiness inspection or exercise. This cut down time in half, actually 2/3 of the time. I just had a call this morning with leadership there, and uncovered a lot of risks, a lot of things that they might have otherwise overlooked and gone unnoticed in preparation for their actual core that's upcoming here in the next 60 days, which is that federal piece, that oversight that's happening there. So being prepared and having everything fixed a little bit of ahead of time and having that operational readiness piece it's absolutely the most important thing, I think, for cybersecurity operations in that regard. I'll wrap this out on the last one, the modernization of legacy systems that you brought up, right? So a lot of these guard units are transitioning from older systems to more secure, modern infrastructures, and Squirrel Defender can simplify this process by integrating with both legacy and upgraded systems. Whatever these modernized pieces of infrastructure and technologies are, we've gone a long ways from the whole move from switch to route. We're now into software-defined items of activity, controller-based systems that are both at the local network level as well as the global level. We talk about software-defined WAN and moving into just other elements where software drives the network connectivity itself, even in the cloud and CSP world. So ensuring that the compliance and security during that transition period is there and made easy is a pretty critical and pretty key thing for us that we're trying to stay in alignment with that IT strategy itself from the Guard.
Dave, can you share any specific examples of Squirrel Defender in action with the Army National Guard?
One example comes from a proof of value conducted at again, state level. We're not touching the tactical stuff, so I make a lot of that reference to the state level National Guard units and that state level network piece. So preparing for that readiness exercise, right? Leadership needed the confidence in that the network was going to be compliant. Hey, are we going to fail our CCRI or our CORA like we have traditionally in the past? And we get a ding, we get a black mark. Doesn't look good for us. Definitely doesn't look good for a commander at the G6 office. And he needed that confidence built up. So we rolled in there with Squirrel Defender, automated their compliance piece for doing the checks and generating those checklists for them to help them expedite the process of working through what those remediation actions were going to be. And that remediation across multiple sites and completing that process in I would say 2/3 less the amount of expected time. So that's pretty critical. It not only ensured that the readiness was there, but it uncovered vulnerabilities that could have been exploited during the actual deployment or when they were getting ready to have that exercise happen by a third-party outside team. So coming from headquarters, when headquarters comes down with their exercise team, they want to do that assessment and evaluation against that state. They're going to flag them on all those things. Well, what happens when they come down and you guys are ready and they're like, we're clean, right? There's no dirty laundry. We already took care of it. A lot of that was able to be done because of Squirrel Defender. So the success of that effort is helping to pave the way for broader adoption across other states.
How does Squirrel Defender handle the diverse operational environments of the Army National Guard, from deployments to remote locations?
Yeah, so flexibility is key, right? It's one of the key features of Defender. The platform can be deployed on-prem, in the cloud from a CSP perspective. So, we're working towards Amazon, Google, et cetera, kind of like a lot of the other platforms out there. But it was originally designed for air-gapped and disconnected operations, right? So we have a couple of those high-profile customers that are agency-based that help drive a lot of those requirements, right? But when we talk about moving into that urban or remote location piece, we built offline capabilities. This way, the Guardsmen can maintain compliance even in austere environments, right? So we're on the move. They can still have Defender in that localized tactical piece if they chose to, or in whatever kind of kit, and still be able to monitor those other locations on that state level network. But once it's reconnected, the platform can automatically sync all that data back up, provide leadership with a complete compliance picture, and ensure again that confidence of what they've done on their network and how they're preemptively defending. This is going to ensure that no matter where the Guard operates, whether it's in urban cyber mission or a rural disaster relief, they can rely on secure and compliant networks all the time, right? That's the big goal.
Well, it's clear that Squirrel Defender is closely aligned with the Army National Guard's IT strategy. What's next for your collaboration?
Yeah, we're actively working on supporting the National Guard's push towards, zero trust architecture. And it's not just the Army National Guard, we're doing it from a DoD perspective. But because we're really trying to pursue our state level folks, there's a lot of us that are connected directly to that and want to make sure that everybody gets the attention. And that's kind of I don't want to say the weakest link, but they are not as budgeted as well a lot of times at the state level as the national level. And so our plan to expand into AI-driven predictive compliance capabilities, that's a big thing, right? That'll be a whole nother topic in the future. I'm going to have Gilbert come in, our CEO and founder here, and give his roadmap and his ideas of what it is we plan to do and how to incorporate the next generation of AI capabilities into our compliance platform to help assist and make it, even better. So a lot of these innovations will further strengthen that cybersecurity and operational readiness. It's the ultimate goal, right? One less tool, one less thing for everybody to have to worry about. We're also partnering with leadership across state level and working towards the Guard level at a Guard headquarters perspective to standardize best practices across all states and try to preserve that flexibility that each unit is gonna need for their unique mission. Again, state, federal, and mission partner perspective, and then order all the breakdowns. Ultimately, the goal is to ensure that the Army National Guard has the right tools and the right support that's necessary to meet its mission for the next 5 years, right, and beyond. And I know that 5-year IT strategy, it was posted from last year, and we have had some leadership transition up there at headquarters with the new side of the house. So we're slowly working to get to that level to help out.
So I know you've been dealing with the state National Guard bureaus. Have any of them asked you to go to the federal National Guard Bureau level headquarters here in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got about 3 years now and a little over half a dozen states that we support. We have lost 1 or 2 states due to funding because of state level funding, right? Some of these states were, we walked in a matter of 3 days, able to find, Gil made this reference before, 30 to 35,000 findings across their state level network on that Title 32 network. And the ability to take and remediate that stuff on the fly and in a matter of 10 to 15 minutes was incredible. And so unfortunately, there was a loss in funding for that state. We lost them as a customer temporarily, change in leadership as well. Nobody knows and understands the value. But we do have a half a dozen other states who are saying, hey, we need this. Are you making a strive to hit a higher level at NGB headquarters? Have you gone up there and tried to help explain to them the value? If not, we're willing to get behind you and we'll write our piece that says, hey, we use the tool on a routine basis. It's helped us out this amount of time and provide those metrics. And then I have other states where they just haven't had the funding to gain access to it. So we're trying to work with them. That's why we do a lot of proof of values and we offer that up front because we'd rather see them experience the tool, see the value and understand how it's going to help them for that operational readiness piece again and hopefully move forward. So yeah, over the course of the next couple months, my team and we're working on the National Guard specific webinars and some things that are .mil only to get in front of leadership at the higher level up there at the Bureau and hopefully get some attention and be able to help the Bureau out with saving money. And again, back on that cost piece, if you don't have to send those teams from headquarters perspective to go and do those assessments for as long of amount of time, or if you can actually report and monitor from a headquarters level and understand, hey, this is the dirty laundry at this state is this, let's go give them more attention. Well, we don't have the money. We gotta wait or that hit list gets left out a little longer. We can aid in reducing what that time and also what that cost kind of looks like all around.
Well, Dave, thanks for sharing these insights. It's exciting to see how Squirrel Defender is having such a tangible impact at the Army National Guard.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks, Dave. It's an honor, of course, always being on board and also to support the Army National Guard in that critical role across nation security.
And before we go, Dave, if people want to find out more about Squirrel Compliancy Solutions, where should they go on the web?
Yeah, you can visit us at www.squirrelcs.com. We do put on a monthly series of webinars as well that can be found either through the website and also on LinkedIn. We typically post those out there. We've had great success here recently since firing those up in the last couple months. And getting ready to launch our YouTube channel as well that shows not only just short demos, but actual use cases that we have leveraged across the DoD and in particular, some of these efforts that have been supporting the National Guard at the state levels.
Excellent. That's www.squirrelcs.com. We've been speaking with Dave Lundgren, who is the cybersecurity leader and driving force behind Squirrel Compliancy Solutions and its flagship platform, Squirrel Defender. I'm Dave Gardy for Squirrel Compliancy Solutions TV from our studios here near Washington, D.C. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Dave.